Me standing on my square. Right now on the big screen, I know you can't see it. Big screen, we just studying Publication 1212. Because it's that time of the year again, man. It's tax season.
Tax season.
And
Everybody think they a baller.
Everybody think they balling off of what's it called? Wage tax?
Yeah.
But we're not licensed attorneys or tax experts. We do this for educational and informational purposes only.
Entertainment.
Sometimes it can be quite entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, what?
Status correction. It is very important that you get your status corrected first. On the record, for the record.
On the record, for the record. Status correction is important. I feel like make sure your status is properly corrected before trying to even do a 1099 OID. I feel like this, yeah, or even dealing with these people, period. I mean, truthfully, you're already a secure party. Your status is already corrected, truthfully, but you got to know how to express it. Even people that's following this paperwork truly don't know how to express it because they don't study or understand. So, first of all, with status correction, the first things first, I think you need an EIN number or a foreign EIN. Some people do a foreign EIN, but even if you're operating in one state and another state, they're their own nations and own countries. So you're operating in foreign jurisdictions, period. So it's just all about expressing this within a trust. With a trust. But on the county, it starts with the county. Make sure you have a non-taxpayer affidavit for your straw man name, which is the all capitalized name. And if you're new to this, the reason why this is important is due to HJR 192, the bankruptcy. What you know about the bankruptcy? You want to let them know what you know about it?
What, March 9th, 1933, the United States went bankruptcy? Or bankrupt? Bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went bankrupt. You can only accept, they can only accept gold and silver. They don't have none of that. They just be using these Federal Reserve notes, that fiat. And it's just a debt note. So you're consistently putting yourself in debt.
It's similar to monopoly. They're just exchanging notes or cards or paper. They're just exchanging things when everything is negotiable instruments. Everything is notes. Everything is a bill or a bill of exchange. We're on the bankruptcy, so everything's bills of exchange. Because lawful money or lawful currency is gold and silver per Article 1, Section 9 of the United States Constitution. The Bill of Rights, which we're a party to. We're really not party to the United States Constitution. We're a party to the Bill of Rights. But the United States Constitution is an express trust. And right, this is important because under 28 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 15A, I'm going to say that again, 28 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 15A, United States means federal corporation. Also under 28 U.S.C. 3002, it tells the definition of courts, which the only lawful court out here, if Congress didn't establish it or the Supreme Court didn't establish it, is tax courts. So everything is truly a tax because we're under bankruptcy. So lawful money is gold and silver. All right.
You said that's where in the Bill of Rights?
It would be Congress. It's gonna be Article 1. It's gonna be Clause 9. Okay. So Article 1 is the powers of Congress.
Yeah, it's like up here.
Yes, the powers of Congress.
Article 1.
Yes, all debt must be paid in silver and gold. See, no bills.
No bill of attainder.
No taxes.
No title.
I like that one too. Yeah. But Article 1 is the powers of, so we'll go ahead. She's got the Bill of Rights right here. So Article 1 is going to break down the powers of Congress, which is important. Then Article 2 would be the executive powers, which is vested in the president. Then Article 3 is always the judicial powers, which judicial is the court powers. And it says right here under Section 1, Article 3, Clause 1, the judicial powers of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So is this that time? If you go to court, ask them, is this that time that Congress ordained you to have power over I? The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their office during good behavior and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during the continuance in office. And then it's going to let you know under Section 2, Clause 2, where they really get their powers, which is going to break down into maritime and admiralty. And then Section 3 is treason against the United States, which they do. And the Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason. So you have to take it to the congressman. You got to start putting people on notice. You got to start making aware, like the Secretary of State, the Attorney Generals. Start putting these people on notice, or they're going to continue to get by with this stuff. But first things first, the status correction. Our status correction at donkilam.com is it's pretty thick. It's like 22 pages. But it's a non-taxpayer affidavit, durable power of attorney general in fact, and revocation of all previous powers of attorney. You have to rescind the signatures, you have to rescind the sureties, you have to rescind the powers of attorney that you've given up to these corporations. And then you have to declare your nationality. On the record, my nationality is a white blackamoor, American Native Indian perpetual elected to remove minors, disabilities, or disability minors. But I do express an international traveler's identification from Morocco with the Moroccan ID, which I'll come to the camera so you can see it.
We both have them.
I'll put something on there so y'all can see it more clearly. This is it. This is the real deal. Tax exemption number on there. And she was rocking IDs on cardboard, so.
You can rock your temp IDs. It's not about the ID, it's about you enforcing it. Your ID don't mean nothing. You don't even need an ID if you know how to enforce it. It just helps them. It helps them. It's for them more so than for us.
And then also attached to the status correction is an affidavit of pledge collateral, security in the interest of the United States government. And this is just breaking down all the contracts. And under 18 U.S.C. subsection 8, obligation or other securities in the United States defined. The term of obligation or other security in the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currencies, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money drawn by or upon authorized officers in the United States, stamps and other representatives of value or whatever denomination issued under any act of Congress and canceled United States stamps. In 12 U.S.C. subsection 95A2, regulation of transactions in foreign exchange of gold and silver, property transfers, vested interest, enforcements, and penalties. And when you let them know you're not bankrupt, we do not consent to the racketeering of your property, and at no time nor the surrendering or the suspending of any of my rights, property, or otherwise. I'm not an enemy but a friend of the United States of America and rebuke any presumptions to the contrary. And we do our collateral agreements and attach your property. And you put that on with the state and the county. It's really that simple, man. So, with the status correction, you're going to want to put it on with the county, the state, Secretary of Treasury, and also the IRS, all right? Department of Treasury, the IRS CID division, which is the Contractors Investigation Division. And also go ahead and update your status with the Vatican, because that's where everything starts. So once you got all these lower level entities, even the Treasury in Puerto Rico, put the entities on notice, the county you're in, any counties you're operating in, send it to the Vatican, all right? Before you assess any tax with any of these corporations, besides the ones that you're keeping the receipts, so if you have any debt, such as a car note, you're going to want to assess the tax. Credit card, assess the tax. Court case, assess the tax. It's not a tax until you assess it first. And you do this by sending a proof of claim letter or a debt validation letter. And just state facts. To the courts, you can do this, cease and desist letters as well. But to the courts, always make sure you attach a letter of rogatory. Also with a letter of rogatory, I also have my own notice of mistakes. Let them know that's not your name, it's a bond, you discovered fraud. Always raise fraud as an issue. There's no statute of limitations on fraud. It's always evidentiary, so they have to accept it. Always label things as an exhibit, because that makes it evidence. If they tamper with it, it's tampering with evidence. They have to admit it. Also, ask for the oath of office. This is a court of records, right? Prove that you're a lawful judge. Prove to me you're a lawful prosecutor. Prove to me you're a lawful attorney. Do you have a license to practice law? Ask these things.
They only have a bar card.
Bar card.
Membership.
Membership to a fraternity. BAR stands for British Accredited Registry, so they belong to England. The bar is in England.
You can't be have allegiance to the United States and Britain, right?
Right. And
That's
who
a
owns
conflict
Britain?
of
Vatican
interest.
owns Britain. That's a whole different topic. They're being operated and owned by the IMF families. All entities that are operating in commerce are debtors operating under bankruptcy, which ties in with the IRS. It looks like numerous corporations, looks like numerous systems, but it falls under one system, one program, IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Alphabet boys, it's just letters, man. And it's just a program, because who is the IRS? That's men running that. Jewish men to get Pacific, but that's a whole different topic. Now, since we're under bankruptcy, that means there's no money, only debits and credits, payables and receivables, and they're always receiving. And the payables they're supposed to go to you, but it ends up going back to them because they filed that 1099-A after 3 years. It goes back to them. They filed it as abandoned property. The property being that paper, that negotiable instrument that you didn't assess the tax on. Whether it's a warrant, whether it's an electric bill, whether it's a credit card bill, whether it's a mortgage. With a mortgage, you file a 1061. Everything is taxes. You have to learn your own bookkeeping. The bankruptcy is what they owe the people. Sooner you start getting up out of this, sooner you start clearing up the bankruptcy.
All that is prepaid.
All debt is prepaid, HJR 192. When you don't assess the tax, because payables go to you, they file it as abandoned property. It's really that simple. They file it as abandoned property with 1099-A. If that's your car, you're not going to pay taxes for it. You don't have to because it's yours. You own it. Flat out. Got these flowers today. We own them. I don't have to pay taxes for them.
Nah, I'm going to come tell you tomorrow. Sir, you need to pay me for those flowers.
You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay taxes for what you own. If you own it, you don't have to pay taxes for it.
If you're tax exempt, you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Sure. They need you to sign. They need you to apply. They need you to consent your power, your authority to access your credit. They cannot access the credit without your signature. They cannot access the credit without you giving them your trust number, which is your social security number. They can't access the stuff without you saying the name or you understand or you filling out the W-2, which is you applying or gifting over your estate. Your all capitalized name is an estate. Your all capitalized name is a trust account. It is an estate.
Your signature is the most valuable thing.
You're signing off from your estate. You're allowing them to take credits from your estate. When you was born, you were worth your weight in gold. You just have to do some studying, man. And when you start studying, this stuff's going to start making sense. Start turning off that TV. Start turning off that programming. The whole world is programmed for you. Because they don't want you to know this stuff. Prosperity is your birthright. Check down Kilam.com out, man. I'm trying to tell you.
You know, you was worth a lot when you was born. You had a big head, huh?
So, first thing, create your EIN number. Create it under irrevocable trust, but you can also do it under LLC. Otherwise, it's a dead corporation. Your all capitalized name is going to be a dead corporation, and it's going to be considered a sole prop. So you're always going to be held liable for that business. LLC is a limited liability company. You're not going to be held liable. It's kind of like a trust. It really is a trust in corporate terms. But when you put stuff under a trust, you're not held liable, period. Then you do your trust declaration. Do an irrevocable trust. It falls out of all jurisdictions. I already said, then do an LLC for your straw man name or a fictitious name for your straw man name. And you do that with your Secretary of State or any Secretary of State. For that matter, in Missouri, it costs $7.50 to create a fictitious name. It costs $75 to create an LLC. Look us up. Divine Original Asiatics. DOA. Missouri. LLC, baby. Everything is trust law. Learn trust law.
Learn contract law.
Learn contract law. The first rule of commerce is that a true bond or true trust in commerce is one with your higher power, higher self. Trust starts with your thought realm. So anytime you're working for a corporation, you're working for somebody else's thought. You're working for somebody else's trust. You're building up their trust. You're building up their visions.
Build up this trust.
Trust these. But that's what it's about. You gotta understand, when you're working at a corporation, she calls it a plantation. Corpse means dead body, action means action. So you're bringing the dead body to life. So a corporation is just a dead body, all right?
Yeah.
You bring it to life by clocking in. You give it your energy. You give it your life purpose. You give it your life energy. Where attention goes, power flows.
Yeah.
Some people give work more attention than their own family.
It's a plantation because you're a paid slave. Modern day slavery. It's not just black people. So-called black people. Nah, you're not the only one getting slaved. White folks too.
So learn trust law. Learn contract law. Learn the truth about words. You're not from England, but you're speaking English. There's power in words. That's where it starts, with the programming. They control your thoughts. They control your language. Now, operate in a private realm with your trust. That's why we have our private IDs, like I said.
Always.
Private IDs. Shout out to RV Bay Publications. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but
no, we're not.
they gave us.
But
they
I started
gave
my
me,
journey with them.
Yes, started my journey with
shout
them
out.
too.
I got a bunch of books. Invest in yourself. Love yourself. All of these little jazzy books. RV Bay all day.
Shout out to Tosh Tariq Bay, teaching us the truth, man. He's been doing this for many years, man. Look up Blackamore. Reason why it's important not to be black, because black is an adjective. It describes something. That's what makes you 3/5 of a person on the record. You must correct your status so you're no longer black.
You know what they said when I got my Sonata? They said, congratulations, man. You got a new black Hyundai Sonata. I said, what? Thought they was trying to insult me.
Black describes something. It's not an actual noun. It's an adjective. Blackamore is an actual noun. When you say you're a living soul, that's an actual noun.
Compound word.
So things like this, man, make sure you're not black on the record, because on the record, when you say you're black, that makes you 3/5 of a person. You're dead. Black means death.
Civilis mortus.
Study HJR 192. That's where everything goes back to, where they collected all the gold. All debt was paid in silver and gold. We used to have gold certificates. We used to have silver certificates.
I have a silver certificate.
The reason why the 1099 original issue discount, I believe, is important is because we are the original issue of our energy.
We come from the dirt.
We come from the dirt. Everything ties into ecclesiastical law. Everything is energy. Everything is atoms and vibrations. So if you don't know how to learn how to know your higher power, to connect these connections with your energy, they come in and they take it from you. They take everything that's good from you. Debt means death. They steal your soul. They steal your energy. So study publication 1212. That's where everything's going to start.
Read that thing like 12, 13 times.
Overstand it.
Understand it.
Overstand a Form W-9. A Form W-9. A Form W-9 requests their EIN number, or the taxpayer identification number. I will post these up on here, but I got some for you. I'm not going to show you on the camera today. I want you to know, man, this is what I do. This is what I do. We go over depth with people on a daily basis. I will come to your doorstep. I will come to your city. W-9s. We go over them. We go over 1099 OIDs. We go over Form 56s.
Form 1040.
We have our LLCs. We have our EINs with the IRS. We have certificates of identity with the Department of Treasury and the Bureau of Public Debt. We do the 1040V forms, the 1040 forms. We file all of this. I have my Treasury Direct Express card and electronic deposit of credits. Everything is credits and securities. And then we always send stuff. Certified mail. This is how you make corporations talk. They have to sign this. You always have a right to face your accuser. And then if you want to send it international, you send it with this card. It's a pink card for the United States Postal Service. That's what it looks like. It's a Postal Service Form 2865. I want you to know this is real, the real deal, man. I've been traveling, helping the people the last going on 4 years. Just going to your door, coming to you. If you really want to keep it out the jurisdiction, you're going to want to find these. Not every post office has them. These are global priority mail. Ship stuff out in these. Make it really foreign to them. These are things you do. This is just simple stuff you can get. Like this is a check that we just got for $270,000. I am not gonna go close up on you, but this is one of the checks. Like this stuff's real.
Can't make this up.
Can't make it up. So Form W-9 requests the EIN number. You have to remain honorable at first. Give them 10 to 21 days to respond, which they're not. They have to respond certified mail in the form of an affidavit.
And they won't.
They won't, because they're corporations. A corporation can't talk for itself.
Walmart won't call me. An agent from Walmart will.
And they will not certify it. So W-9, the Form 56 is going to appoint the Secretary of Treasury as your honor-bound, duty-bound fiduciary when assessing the tax. The IRS will assess the tax for you. It's really that simple. The 1040 form, you just fill what you can out to assess the tax, to show your income not coming in.
You're not a tax expert.
You're not a tax expert, so you have the experts do it for you. You're just the AR, your authorized representative. Anytime you do a 1099 OID or a 1099A or a 1099C, because 1099C cancels out the debt, you're going to want to have a cover form, which is a 1096. And then to pay for everything, you use the 1040V form. That takes care of everything. And then before all of that, you file the Form 8281 to let them know who you are, exactly who you are.
That's what people forget. That's how people get this stuff mixed up. And
yeah, the Form 82, a lot of what people are missing is the Form 8281. The Form 8281, they don't really preach that out here, but that's a crucial part. And the 1096, filling that out correctly, along with the cover letters. So I'm gonna go to the I'm just gonna go through the paperwork, what I got for you. Now let's get into it. The 1099 OID information. This is what y'all been waiting on.
you got it.
First, this is not meant to be legal or tax advice.
Not at all.
Second, I present this information to you to give you a greater understanding of how this remedy works so you can make your own decision as how to proceed. Advocates of the OID method will argue that it is best not to notify the banks of what you are doing. Do not send them any 1099 copies that you have filed with the IRS. The justification being that they have been stealing our credit all these years and not notifying us per IRS publication. It is the entity whose name appears in the upper left-hand box of any given 1099 that is supposed to be the filer. Do you have power of attorney to file for the bank? Are you authorized representative of the bank and such given permission to file 1099s for them? And by the way, I made my name a trust bank. Trust bank, look it up. Jeffrey Wayne McBride in Hannibal, Missouri, LLC. It's a trust bank, 321 South Arch. So I could always act on behalf as an authorized representative for the trust bank because your name is truly a bank. Your Social Security account's a trust account. So can we get the bank to file the proper 1099s for us to recover our credit? If not, how can we get it done and stay in honor and not risk future repercussions? Per IRS publication, if someone is a holder of an OID debt instrument and receives an OID that includes amounts belonging to someone else, then the holder is considered a recipient nominee. When the recipient nominee receives their copy of the 1099 OID, we file as payer. They now have a requirement to file a 1099 OID showing them as the payer and the true owner of the debt instrument as the recipient. From the instructions for Form 1099 OID exceptions, you are not required to file Form 1099 OID for payments made to certain payees, including a corporation. Therein lies this little secret. Not only is there no requirement for you to file these 1099 OIDs, they're hoping you do not. Because if you do not, that's a big thank you for the gift. Because that is what you have just given them by not filing. According to the information in the IRS publication, once you file the first 1099 OID as payer with the bank as recipient nominee, the bank is now under an obligation to file the second 1099 OID showing your all caps name as recipient and their name as payer. but the bank has no obligation to file until we file the 1099 OID, naming them as recipient nominee. Now, in a perfect world where everyone operates in honor, once you took care of your filings and the bank did theirs, you would get a refund without hassles. Unfortunately, we do not live in a perfect world. We are dealing with a banking industry that is full of dishonor and has been hijacking our credit and labor energy, those that came before us for centuries. So the issues become what to do if when the bank fails to decline to file the second 1099 OID. Here's how it works. File the first 1099 OID with your all caps name as payer and bank as recipient nominee. In the 1099A, you will send a cover letter to the bank explaining that you want them to file along with their copy of the file 1099A, their copy of the file 1099 OID with them as recipient nominee, and an unfiled draft copy of the second 1099 OID showing the bank as payer and your all caps name as recipient, and tell them that the draft is a copy of the exact 1099 OID they should file with the IRS. Among other things, the letter will go on to say that if they do not file the 1099 OID with their name as payer and your all caps name as recipient within, let's say 10 days or 14 days of receipt, then the silence is their agreement to have you file it for them. The letter will need to be sent with some type of delivery confirmation so you can confirm the exact date it was received in their offices. A courtesy copy of this letter can also go to the IRS, giving them a heads up to look for a filing from the bank as nominee or a filing from you due to the bank's dishonor. You may also choose to use a notary as part of the process. In commerce, silence is acquiescence, meaning if they do not file the 1099 OID, then by their silence they are agreeing to have you file it for them. It is important to have the paper trail created if your administrative process is ever called into question as to why you did what you did. You can stay in honor while they did not. Therefore, the procedure would be initial filing, a 1099A, your name as lender, bank as borrower, 1099 OID, your name as payer, bank as recipient nominee, mail it to the banks, cover letter explaining why you filed the 1099s and their duties and obligations and what would happen should they act dishonorably and fail to perform as stipulated in the letter. Bank copies of 1099A, bank copies of 1099 OID, draft copies of 1099 OID, bank as payer, showing bank what they should file with IRS. Second OID filing, should the bank fail to file the 1099 OID per your instruction, 1099 OID showing bank as payer and your name as recipient, you mail it to the bank. Send a copy of the newly filed 1099 OID to the banks with the cover letter. The final step would be submitted to the IRS. In commerce, we are dealing with debtors and creditors and those who play accessory or supporting roles. In commerce, we are dealing with honor and dishonor. To be a creditor is to stay in honor. Strictly speaking, it is not honorable to file a 1099 OID for the bank as payer until you get them in a dishonor, which is what you do filing the way I have described above. Please note, for those of you who are still 1099 credit cards, some credit card companies have reacted to the notice by sending intimidated letters and canceling credit cards. That is if you 1099 the credit cards account you have with them. If you send a notice out to the credit card company, you might want to make it clear that you are not intending to stop making your credit card payments, nor are you in any way attempting to get out the credit card debt you might have with them. Folks who are 1099 personal checking accounts are also getting letters from banks, sometimes phone calls. In general, understanding there is a difference between a response and a non-response. When the banks may reply, do they respond to your notice? In order to qualify as a response, they must address the questions you posted in the notice. If they do not, it is a non-responsive reply. So let us know if you have any questions about that. If you'd like to proceed. Hope that made sense, but I'm going to get a little bit more depth. So this is zeroing your account. So stop being a tax delinquent fugitive. You remember this document?
Yeah, we presented this at the Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. So this is just study material as always. We're not licensed attorney or tax experts. So number one, everything is taxes, and number two, everything is contract law. So taxes supersede contract law because your Treasury direct account, aka your Social Security number, due to the bankruptcy. So every issue, especially in court, is a tax issue. You're not in law, you're in tax court. There's no money, only taxes. A bill is a money order from them. So we never make anyone offers. We let them make the offer. They get the original back. We make copies for ourselves. You do not go to jail for filing your taxes. Islam. Now, contract law. Oral contract, written contract, and performance contract. Performance contract is the most damaging to us. If you act like a defendant, argue law, resist zeroing out your account, we are on commercial dishonor. Your toast and may go to jail. So again, 1099 OIDs and 1096s. So you must know that federal governments, state governments, and corporations, I'm on the next page, they're all debtors. And they all issue debt instruments and they need you to accept them. They need your credit, which is tied to your Treasury Direct account or your TDA account, which is your social. And you can change it to an EIN number. Your credit, when used by anyone, you or them, has to be reported on your taxable income on the 1040, a 1099 OID, a 1096, and a 1040V to the IRS every year. Your Treasury Direct account must be kept at zero, just like your checkbook. This is why you have to file your taxes. All debtors had to use your credit to pay their bills so they could function in commerce. And it goes on to say more about HJR 192. Block grants. I'm not going to get deep into all this, but we don't file lawsuits because you will be making them an offer. All right. Who is the Department of Treasury and the Internal Revenue Service? They are the bookkeepers for your credit. Your Treasury Direct account or your Social Security number, it's just like your checkbook. It must be kept within a reasonable balance. The IRS will send you a bill if it gets too far on the taxable income side or out of balance. The 1040, the 1099 OID, the 1096, and 1040V is filed every year. It brings your Treasury Direct account back to zero. It is your account and your responsibility to keep your account within reason. Your credit is taxable. Income. You have to declare your income. The use of your credit has to be reported, whether you use it or whether they use it. If you don't keep your Treasury Direct account at zero yearly, they may charge you with criminal charges and hold your body as collateral until you zero out your Treasury Direct account because you are a tax delinquent fugitive. All taxes are federal taxes. There's no such thing as a state tax. The truth on your tax return can only be agreed to by another, 1040 or 1040V. If anyone tries to invent a false claim on the 1040 or 1040V, it would be perjury. Otherwise, all she or he could do is agree with you, and that makes it a civil matter. That's why any assumed agreement must go on the 1040 or 1040V to compel someone to commit perjury. Debts cannot be written off until they have been charged, assessed as a tax on the 1040 or 1040V. The corporations cannot charge or assess taxes. They can collect them, but they can't write off tax losses because they cannot assess them. They need the accused person to not assess the tax, which is a commercial protest, dishonor, or default. That makes sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
That's deep.
It's always a tax issue.
So the credit side is the private side. The debit side is the public side. Debits and credits. Color of laws on the debit side. De facto government. Bankruptcy side. It's all debit side. So on the private side, debits are private. IRS tax issue equals federal taxes only. Zero your account on the private side. Prove your claim in fact on the private side. Provide judge with a copy of your 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V filing, and a copy to the prosecutor. Your filing is a court of records. Always use a person's name on a money order. This is for court issues. Credits or public debts. This is the public side. Corporation bylaws, fake corporation constitutions. Court of equity, no record. Judge decides if he'll let you win, so you can tell everyone else and keep the court in business so they can make money FRNs off us. Keep using our credit. And this stuff is important to know, man, the public and the private side. So the private side, that's your relationship with your higher power, truthfully. And if you move by faith and have a relationship with your higher power, you can always move to the public. Because what's done in the darkness always comes to the light. Yin and the yang. And there's always, you keep and make copies for yourself too. And you always send a cover letter. So I'm just going to give an example. I have a bunch of examples of cover letters. I'm just going to give you an example of one. This enclosed 2019 Federal Tax Form 1040, 1099 OID, and 1096 is filed to the best of my knowledge. The 1099 OID and 1040 form is to identify me as the sponsor for the credit. that funded the Treasury bill in the first place. Proof that a federal tax debt exists and proves prepayment using my credit. Send the IRS. Since the IRS is the tax expert and knows the IRS tax laws, in the event you feel this is a fictitious or frivolous filing, please notify me within 10 days and please inform me how to file correctly to claim my credit for return to source for a settlement and closing in exchange. Treasury direct number, then your social. Sincerely, your name. It's really that simple, man. You just got to put forth a little effort. A little effort. Send the stuff right. We got all the pictures. We got all the forms. You just got to fill it in yourself. Like, we got the actual 1099 OID. How to do it. 1096. How to do it. 1040V form. How to do it. It's all filled out for you. Even the 1040 forms. It breaks it down. Where to put everything. And then more cover letters. Right here. You want to start reading that?
Yeah. Your federal withholding. The 1099 is for reporting gambling proceeds won or lost at casinos. When we look at the Federal Reserve note, we find that it is a promise to pay, but it is not the payment. But it's a future event, and a future event that has not happened yet. Amounts to speculation whether or not the promise to pay would actually occur. Thus, the use of Federal Reserve notes themselves are gambling proceeds and thereby suspicious activity reportable on 1099 OID and other means of reporting. Thus, whoever is getting a paycheck in U.S. dollars is receiving the issue that is reportable on 1099 OID because the Federal Reserve note, otherwise referred to as U.S. dollars, are evidence of speculation on a future event. A promise to pay, that is the gambling on the future event. As one does not know if that promise to pay will return to the source or not. It seems that it will not return to the source unless it is reported on the Federal Tax Form 1099 to enable the issue to enter the electronic circuit in a journey to the source. Without entry therein, it is doubtful that the promise to pay can occur, the tax return. So it seems that wherever a check is issued is the issue, reportable on the 1099 OID. And where a cash item in a Federal Reserve note is given and or received, or a bond or other type security given in commercial paper that is payable in Federal Reserve notes or U.S. dollars, is the gambling proceeds reportable on the 1099 OID. The 1099 OID filing instruction refers to the issue as the reportable item, and that is the check at the source that has not yet returned to the source. It cannot return to the source until it enters the closed circuit via the Federal Tax Form 1099 and its journey back to the source. One could say that the first issue, the check being the source, is the venue, and after filing 1099 on that issue, the item returning the source, I suppose, the difference in the source of the issue and the item returning to the source is a tax. It's a returning item. A charge electronically and travels in a closed circuit back to the source for settlement and exchange. When you receive a bill for a product you have used and there was no check therewith for you to pay the bill, the amount of that bill is withholding and is a federal withholding in possession of the person who gave you the bill without a check to pay it. Thus, the action for settlement is to return the tax liability assessed in a 1040 tax return, and the tax the same as income tax on a 1099 OID filed there within. It is the IRS then who will tell the bill collector that the amount of the bill is a federal withholding. The bill is evidence of that amount withheld and without a check or money order to accompany the bill sent to you. The absence of the check or money order is the admission of withholding for that amount.
All right, that's good. So, hey, where'd you get all that?
That you are the issue and it's supposed to return back to you, but because you don't file a 1099 OID, it doesn't return back to you.
Now, so what is the 1099 OID? During your lifetime, you have probably not had the Secretary of Treasury, the IRS, paying, discharging your debts for you or adjusting your account according to HJR 192. You, like most people, have been giving your equity away, paying your bills in the form of Federal Reserve notes that you acquired through your labor. You had the prepaid account available, but did not know it existed or didn't know how to use it. And the net result is you have been paying for the stuff the company have been paying for all along. It's time to fill out an expense report, a Form 1099 OID, and send it to the payroll clerk to be reimbursed for the stuff you paid for that the company was supposed to pay for. The Form 1099 OID is also known as the original issue discount form. Remember that all men, women issue originate from the ground. They are God's creation, therefore all labor that originates from them is also considered original issue. Since we eventually return to the ground, all labor also needs to be returned to the source of their labor. And that would be to the man or woman who created products and services from his or her labor. The 1099 OID is basically an expense report that needs to be submitted to the company via the payroll clerk to be reimbursed for purchases you made that the company should have paid for in the first place. Just like an expense report, you need to attach the receipts only in the event of an IRS audit to the 1099 for proper accounting for the payroll clerk. So let's review. When you were born, your parents entered a contract with the government, the company that was bankrupt, and yet you essentially went to work part-time for them to help pay off the debt that the company had incurred. The instrument that was used was the application for live birth certificate, and it became a binding contract. It also became a pledge to and for the company and security that they used to pay the debt and the company has with the bankers. You can redeem and regain control of the birth certificate by proper status correction with the Secretary of State in one state and listing the birth certificate as your property or collateral within your trust. By filling out the Form SS5 application for Social Security benefits, we entered into another contract that allowed the company to assess our prepaid account that was created with the passage of House Joint Resolution 192. The SS5 can be revoked and the contracts rescinded by simply filling out Form SS521, withdraw Social Security benefits. By creating a bond and sending it with a copy of one's status correction to the Secretary of Treasury, one can then access the prepaid account that was created and begin to discharge any debt incurred from that point forward. Please be aware that this is an ongoing learning process. If there is something you don't understand, do not do these procedures. Get some help from someone who has done it. As one may suspect, this does not cover everything needed. The IRS is your friend. I'm about to get down deep to it. I'm going to go into it. Yes. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Oh, yeah, somewhere.
She's supposed to be my secretary, though.
I am, but you mixed up. You started off on something I don't know. Look, you put these papers together, so you figure it out.
You don't want her messing with your ID.
I gets it done. He put these papers together. He went out of order.
Nah, you was over here messing with him.
Yeah, because I was trying to look because you went out of order. How you gonna put that first and then do it second?
I did.
False sauce.
I have my stuff together.
False sauce.
You are.
I'm false sauce? Nah.
You and Keisha.
Ha!
Whoa.
Keisha and Nina. Get your ass.
Before you begin, just please keep in mind there are 3 forms on each sheet of the 1099A. This is also true for the OID. But until just recently, the Form 1099 OID has 2 forms to fill out. But it don't change anything. So starting with the first box labeled lender's name, etc., enter the straw man's information name, address, etc., or the information as recorded on your bill. Number 2 would be the lender's federal ID number. Enter your social in the EIN format. It would be entered as 12-3456789. Number 3, borrower's ID. Enter the borrower's or the biller's EIN. They may be available on your wages and income statement received from the IRS. If unknown, leave blank. Borrower's name. Number 4, enter the information of whoever was paid, debtor, biller. If for a court case, enter the judge's or prosecutor's name. The address will be headquarters of the debtor or the address of the court proceedings. 5, account number. Here you will enter the tracking account number or the account number and routing number. If for a bank transaction, enter the case number for a court case. Then back to the top of the Form 1099A. 1099 OID. The filer's name. This portion can remain blank. Only the contact person is needed. Name a person to contact. This will be your natural person's information, the authorized representative. If you have a corporation set up with correctly fill out Form 56 or Form 2848, enter the appropriate contact person and appointed authorized representative. Box 1, the EIN, leave blank. Box 2, social. Enter social number with dashes. Box 3, total number of forms. Please note, each sheet of the Form 1099A has 3 forms. So this entry will be the number of forms you actually filled out. Box 4 and Box 5, leave blank. Box 6, enter as X in only one box. Place an X, not a check mark, in this box labeled 1099A. Box 6, if this is your final return, place an X in the box indicated as this will be your final return for the year. This will be left unchecked if you were doing this process on a monthly or quarterly basis. Sign the form as the authorized representative and date. And you're done. Gather all your completed forms and referring to the instructions on the Form 1096, mail all the originals to the IRS. It's highly suggested you make a scan or copy of all your sheets for your records before mailing, even though you have the carbon copies that are attached to each sheet. This mailing will serve as notice to the IRS and procedure forms 1099 OID and 1040 filings. Now, let's move forward to the 1099 OID process. Now that you have completed the Forms 1099A, and you give them to the IRS time to investigate your claims, 2 weeks should be sufficient. You are ready to proceed with the Forms 1099 OID. This form is used to request the funds recorded on the Forms 1099A be moved from the debtor's, vendor's, biller's account to your treasury account, then issued back to you in the form of a refund. You will need the copies of your Form 1099A to ensure your Form 1099 OID are filled out correctly. For this process, you will be transferring information from the Form 1099A to the Form 1099 OID with a few adjustments. Form 1099 OID instructions. Starting with the first box labeled payer's name, enter the borrower's information, name, address, etc. as recorded on your Form 1099A. 2. Payer's federal ID number. Leave blank unless known. 3. Recipient's ID. Enter your social in standard form with the dashes. Recipient's name. Enter the lender's information as recorded on Form 1099A in proper English, upper and lower case. Example, John E. Doe, like you really spell your name, not all caps. The same should be done with your address information. Account number, this will be the same account transaction information recorded on the Form 1099A. Back to the Form 1099 OID. Box 1, original issue discount. This will be the amount entered in Box 2, Box 4, your Form 1099A. Box 2, leave blank. Box 3, leave blank. Box 4, federal income tax withheld. Enter amount recorded in Box 1 unless the transaction is from an account from which cash could be acquired, checking or savings. In this case, subtract 10% from the amount recorded in box 5. Box 5, description. Enter your straw man name in all caps. Box 6 and 7, leave blank. Once completed, the information on these Forms 1099 OID need to be entered onto a Form 1096. This form will serve as the cover letter for your Form 1099 OIDs completed. The process to fill out the 1096 for the Forms 1099 OID are the same as follow for the Form 1099A with a couple of changes. Follow 1096 instructions above to Box 3. Box 3 on this 1096 should be the same as Box 3 of the 1096 filled out for the Forms 1099A. Box 4, federal income tax withheld. Total of all Box 4s on your Form 1099 OID. If you notice, you will see Box 4 on your OID is also titled federal income tax withheld. Box 5, total amount reported with this Form 1096. Total of all Box 1s on your Form 1099 OID. Box 6, enter X in only one box. Place an X, not a check mark, and the box labeled 1099 OID. Box 7, if this is your final return, place an X in the box, indicate as you will be your final return for the year. This will be left unchecked if you are doing this process on a monthly or quarterly basis. Sign the form as the authorized representative and date. And then everybody should know how to fill out a 1040. You know, we shouldn't have to go over the 1040, but there is instructions. There is a different changes. So the income that you're being labeled, the credit that they claim is income. It's income. It's your income that you didn't receive. So yeah, let me go ahead and go over 1040. Form 1040 can either be ordered from the IRS via the website or phone, acquired by your local library IRS office, or downloaded from their website. Past year Form 1040 can be secured by doing a search for a particular area in your favorite search engine. Now, this is the only form that you can print off. Order the 1099 forms. You can only print off the 1040 form or the 1040V form. You can also print off like Form W9s and stuff like that, but no 1099s. Label. Fill out as you would for a standard filing using all caps for your entries. Filing status. For the sake of ease and simplicity, please check box 1 single. Exemptions. You will take no exemptions. Exemptions are for debtors, not creditors. This process is for creditors only. Skip this section. Income. Line 7. Enter information from your W-2, wages, salaries, tips, etc. Line 21. On the blank line, enter C 1099 OID. In the box on the same line, enter the total from box 1 of the form, 1096. Complete it for your forms, 1099 OID, Federal Income Tax Withheld. Line 22. Enter the total from box on line 21. Adjusted gross income. Skip to line 37. Line 37. Enter the total from box on line 21. Taxes and credits. Skip this section. Line 38. Enter the total from line 37 per the instructions. Line 40. Enter 0. Line 41. Enter total from line 38. Line 43, 44, 46, 55, and 56. Enter 0. Other taxes, skip to line 61. Line 61, enter 0. Payments. Line 62 and 71. Enter total from line 38. Refund. Line 72 and 73. Enter total from line 38. The remaining entries ask where you wish to have your refund sent and other information. It is highly suggested you have your funds direct deposit into a business bank account. Please follow the instructions to complete the Form 1040. Sign the bottom of your return as the authorized representative and you are done. See the Form 1040 instructions for your proper filing location. Insert Schedule B instructions here. When preparing your return, be considerate to the agent who will be examining your documents and stack them in numerical order, like 1040, 1096, then 1099 OID. Nothing should be stapled. Be sure to make a copy of your documents for your records. Send in all originals to the IRS. And then I will show these copies that I have already filled out. I will show them. But you can go to donkilam.com. We're not tax experts or licensed attorneys. We do this for educational and informational purposes only. And we will guide you. We will help guide you. We're spiritual guides. We operate in a private. We understand the process. We understand that debt is prepaid. And it just starts with knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. And when you start operating in the private realm and start operating with IDs, offsetting debt, and just understanding the frauds and not being, I believe the main thing is not being stressed out.
Facts. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to try this stuff. The best knowledge is applied knowledge.
Know thyself. That's the main thing. Just know thyself. That's the key. I'm coming to a city near you, man. Be looking out. Our website will be on the way. Divine Original Asiatics. That's who's doing the paperwork. We're coming. We got teams. We're coming to a city near you, man. Right now we're in the Florida area. If you're in the Tampa area, hit us up, man. You're in the Orlando area, hit us up. Even Jacksonville, hit us up. We're coming to an area near you. Miami, Georgia, everywhere down south, man. Texas, hit us up. We'll come to you, man.
South Carolina. North Carolina.
South Carolina. Go ahead and raise up. North Carolina. Take your shirt off. Publication 1212, man. 1099 OIDs is real, man. People are out here seeing real life results. But what they're not teaching you is about Form 8281. That's the main thing.
So they're leaving that out.
Do not leave that out. Do not print off these 1099 forms. Do not. Order them. Get them from the library. Go to your Office Depot or somewhere. Get them.
If you order them on the IRS website, I think they're supposed to send them in like 10 days. 10 business days. Something like that.
Islam to all the Moors. Shalom to all the Israelites, man. Much peace and love. Declare your nationality, know who you are, man. Shout out to our ancestors.
Correct that status.
Shout out to Noble Drew Ali, man. Putting us in the game, leading me to Bay. Making me stand on my square more and learn more about my history and myself. And making me want to be a proud Moor. Real talk.
You are a proud Moor.
Yes.
Don't be a whore.
Go to donkilam.com now. That's DONKILAM.com. You can reach myself directly at 407-274-5161. This is Divina Bay. She's part of the squad. We down. I'm rocking with her. We getting our team together. We working on our business credit. We doing our OIDs. We getting rid of all the past stuff. And we moving on to the present. We coming to a city near you, man. Be on the lookout.
Big facts.
Peace and love. With that, I'm out.
When you rise to a dawn in your life, then the point becomes who or where. Deciding on now is just one example of a dime. The best choice you ever made in life is always right now. About you or me. You can slave all your life, but the game's always free. Close your eyes for a second. I'ma teach you how to see. I'ma tap your mind's eye and make your crown shine gleam. Fruits of my labor every time you hear me speak. On the other side of fear is your heart take a leap. Walk by faith, not by sight. And then it's time to eat. Money over bitches, never said I didn't cheat. Took a lot of L's, but I rose from defeat. My bitch rolling with me as class bucket seats. Praises to the ancestors, the Egyptian cotton sheets. They claim me need credit, so I built it in the streets. I can never settle down, make money when I sleep. They say money talks, make sense when I speak. Shine on sight, always reign king. Circle 7 generations, still feel my heartbeat. My word is my bond, I'm a dime. I'm a dime, I'm a dime. My word is my bond, I'm a dime. I'm a dime, I'm a dime. 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, say shit to get money when I dine in your life. I already said it, royalty checks, I built my own credit. My word is my bond, you can't take that from me. Had to sit down with myself, said it's time to get money. Came up from the hate and turned them all junkies. My life's an open book, it's me that they study. I'm a blazing star, so I never see Mondays. Been a big dog, made them all hush puppies. 7 gold chains around my neck, I'm never ugly. I put on for my squad, ignorant minds feel I'm lucky. I said fuck class, and then I mastered money. No one came with me, now everybody love me. Fucking with the plug, ain't never been confronted. L-Bays all days, that's why I'm stunning. A to Z, I can read, but it's 5 that I'm chunking. Straighten up my tie and I fasten all my buttons. Learn the law of fun and still puffing, getting blunt and turning grams into yams, quarters into whole onions. My word is my bond, I'm a dime. I'm a dime. I'm a dime. My word is my bond, I'm a dime. I'm a dime. I'm a dime. 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, say shit to get money when I dine in your life.